The first question is on the Sasso family. David and Dennis are tracing the Sasso family line to Abraham de Judah Sasso, born in London in the 1700s. Excuse me. But can't identify earlier generations beyond his father Judah. Online family trees conflict on Judah's birthplace, but either St. Thomas in the Caribbean or England, and this inconsistency has stalled the research. They're asking for help clarifying Judah Sasso's origins and whether the family connects to the Swasso line. Um, the first thing I had to say is what I did, like any lazy person. I went to look up on Bida, Alexander Bida, and he reports that the surname originates in the town of Praduro e Sasso, today called Sasso Marconi, near Bologna in Italy. So possibly that is somewhere to look, but that's kind of big picture. I don't know, Tom, if you have more specific suggestions.
Yes, the late great Isaac Emanuel published a lot about Curacao families. And one of the families he does cover is the Sasso family. And indeed, Judah Sasso was the father of Abraham, and indeed, he has been in London. And I think that the Bevis Marks archives will show more about him. So it will be good to take a look at Anasao Hebraica and search for the name Sasso there. Uh, and I have a Judah Sasso moving circa 1720 from Amsterdam to London. So I think that the Judah Sasso from Curaçao, who was supposed to be born in London, uh, actually lived in London and came from Amsterdam. I may have been born in Amsterdam or maybe somewhere else. He seems to be related to Moses Sasso, about whom much more is known in Amsterdam, and you can look him up in the uh, Amsterdam City Archives. And Moses Sasso lived partly in The Hague and partly in Amsterdam. And he seems to be involved in diplomatic circles, probably as a servant to one of the ambassadors of Morocco to The Hague. Uh, there is a ketubah of him, and there is a marriage certificate, a marriage ban. The marriage ban says that he is from Lisbon, but other indications point to Morocco. So I think this is the line to research: Morocco, Amsterdam, London, Curaçao. There's a lot of work to be done, of course, but I do have some sources which I'm able to share with David Sasso.
Yes, thank you so much, Tom.
Yeah. Um, and this is all research that I did on the quest of Ferdinand Sasso, who lives in Jerusalem, but comes from Panama and before that from Curaçao. And before that, that family was related to Moses Sasso, early 18th century in Amsterdam and The Hague.
Okay.
So,
So not the Moses Sasso, who's the brother of the Abraham that I mentioned in Curacao. This is a different
more
Moses,
like an uncle.
an uncle to him. Got it.
David, are you interested in a DNA perspective for 30
Oh,
seconds?
sure, of course.
Okay, it's a very, very solid Iberian Jewish lineage that we have found in the De Castro family in Curacao and a bunch of families in Morocco. So there's definitely a strong Moroccan
Hmm.
connection. And we found it in well, as far east as Tunisia, into Syria, and actually we have one individual in Iraq from that lineage. So, it's one of the most important Sephardi lineages we have found in the world. And it's something that Dennis Sasso is my family's rabbi in Indianapolis. So we've been talking about this for a bunch of years.
He's my father.
Oh, well, would you say a little for me?
Of course.
He bar mitzvahed half my
Mm.
family. So,
Oh,
so I'd be if David, if you will, I'll put in chat my email address, and you're very
great.
welcome to contact me. I also tested the Robles family.
Okay.
So,
I have a lot of the Robles and De Castro lines. I can go back far further to the um, uh, Aboab dynasty in one direction, but it's the Sasso line where that particular name is the brick wall for us
all right.
because
So
we
we'll
can't
we'll
get that
talk further for me, but it sure
yeah,
looks like the De Castro family and the Sasso family in Curacao are connected to each other.
for sure, for sure.
Could be two brothers who just took different surnames. So thank you, David Mendoza and Todd. I didn't mean to take over your.
That's great. And
So what I guessed from archival sources is more or less okay.
Definitely.
so
Okay.
you're questioning Alexander Bider's omnipotence and omnipotence in this.
Well, he can only go back as far as the names,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So we don't, the Sasso family may have gone, as well as the De Castro family may have gone through Italy in their sojourn,
yeah,
but we clearly see a connection. In fact, this lineage is so big. Uh, I was in Israel last year, and the cab driver who I picked up to drive me to Jerusalem from Morocco, we swabbed him, and I tested it, and his result is he matches the Sasso family.
No
So,
kidding.
so it's that big a lineage that you scratch enough Moroccans, you're going to find people in this group.
Wow.
And
Mm.
for reference, it's our AB059 group. Write that down. And that, in fact, my dearest friend from Martha's Vineyard, who was the naturalist of the island, uh, whose family was Christian as far as he knew, I DNA tested, and he matches AB59 too. He said, "Yeah, yeah, we knew." So
Wow. Oh,
it's
well, I'm glad to have connected with you all.
great, David. Say
I'll
hello to
be.
your folks for me.
I will.
Uh, Very short. This is through yDNA. Is
Correct.
that correct? And did you also test persons with the name Sasso?
Yes. We tested
Okay.
Ferdinand Sasso and we tested Dennis Sasso, and he matches the De Castros and the Chaltiels from Morocco and
Hmm.
Mhm.
the Ben Davids from Morocco. Ben David is a big name in the Atlantic Islands. For those who studied the Azores and the Cape Verde Islands, they came over in the 19th century after the riots and married Catholic women, and then came to America.
So it's probably just the Swasso is not connected, most likely.
No,
I don't know.
no.
The Swasso family unfortunately died out. It was a very, very wealthy family.
Yeah.
And if my history reminds me, David Mendoza and Ton, that family collapsed from the absence of descendants. Somehow that sticks in my mind because
Hmm.
I would have loved to have tested a Swasso. Then we would have known for certain. So if you find me a Swasso, we'll take care of that.
Mhm. Yeah, the
great.
last Suasso was a female, and she died in the 1950s.
Correct. That's why we didn't do it.
Yeah, but her family belongings were given of to the Jewish Museum in Amsterdam. If you could find a lock of hair,
Or get me a molar and we'll take care of it.
yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Great, great.
Look
Thank you
forward to
for
hearing
that.
from you, David.
So our next question is from another David on the Benaim family, and he's researching the Benaim family from Tetuan in Morocco. He believes a census was taken in Tetuan during the Spanish rule in the 1860s, and he's asking which archive holds records of that Spanish census. And I mean, for my part, I would tell him to speak with two people, either Raquel Levi Toledano or Jacob Marachi, and they both also are administrators of a Facebook group called Généalogie des Juifs Marocains, and they are probably the experts, along with the Cercle de Généalogie Juif in France, and probably the surname. I mean, I guess it's Benaim, presumably it's Ben Hayim, so it's probably quite a common surname because it's also certainly in Algeria and Tunisia. Um, I don't know, Ton, anybody else? Do you have any further?
You mentioned the Cercle. I would recommend becoming a member of that. You'll get access to their vast uh, databases and publications. And they publish one of the best genealogical journals, magazines in the world. So,
Okay, and we've just
and
got
they have a group called Group something uh, Afrique de Nord. And if you can join that, people will help you there. Ali, please.
I'm pretty sure I've come across the Benaim name in Gibraltar. So it might also be worth looking at the list of Jewish inhabitants of Gibraltar in 1777 that we put up on Anassau Hebraica. And I think I also posted it to the Sephardic World group as a
Yes.
as a Excel document or something. But Benaim, it definitely turns up in Gibraltar, and uh, I think there's also an author called Benaim, a sort of more contemporary author who wrote a history of the Jews of Gibraltar and Tetuan. So um, I don't know if that helps.
it does actually. I'm on the Anassau Hebraica site at the moment, and I can see there's lots of in 1777 Benaims, Meshod, Miriam, Donna, Isaac, Simcha, Hadia, Nadia. Anyway, so that's another place. And in the chat, somebody's mentioned that there are also some Benaims found their way to Venezuela. So that might be another clue. Does anybody else have any observations on that? I think the people we've mentioned are the people who can unlock that. Shall we go to the next
Yes.
family, which is Peixotto? And the researcher is trying to identify the parents of his three times great grandfather, Moses C. probably Cohen Peixotto, who lived in Jamaica in the early 1800s. Although Moses' brother Abraham is better documented, no clear evidence links either man to their parents, possibly named Isaac Peixotto. He's asking whether new sources, research strategies, or post-Vilma-Ruddock resources could help break this long-standing brick wall. Tom.
First of all, I would recommend Family Search. They have collected millions of documents over the years, microfilming them. They have digitized those microfilms, and you could always browse them. But now they have put them through an in-house transcription program, and they made all these millions of documents searchable. So if you go to Family Search, you click on Search in the top bar, and then on Full Text, then you fill in the name that you are researching, and be amazed at that. I didn't try it for Peixotto, but you really should try. Next, this is on Jamaica, so I consulted the book of Stanley Mervis about the Jews of Jamaica, a book which was written on the basis of hundreds of last wills, which gives an insight into family life in on Jamaica. I'll try to share the document that was shared to me by Stanley Mervis, which is called Consolidated. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so I these consolidated last wills were collected by Stanley Mervis and Ainsley Henriquez, who apparently is not well at the moment and can't be reached. But he abstracted all those last wills and noted every name that is on it. So let's go seek out Peixotto. The family Peixotto on Jamaica is first mentioned in the last will of Isaac Mendes da Costa, dating from 1764. There's Sarah Peixotto from Bordeaux. And she is the wife of Samuel Peixotto, who is over here, also from Bordeaux. So I presume that they lived in Bordeaux. And since she is a sister of Isaac Mendes da Costa, her maiden name must have been Mendes da Costa. And it's all connected to Bordeaux. There are two more Peixottos. There's a Jacob Cohen Peixotto. He is the godson of Isaac Pereira Mendes. And Isaac Pereira Mendes is also related to the Kingdom of France. So maybe Bordeaux. But there's not much more known about him. And then lastly, we have Moses Cohen Peixotto, which may be the ancestor of Hakon, the one who posed the question. He was in Kingston, a baker. And he was mentioned in the last will of Moses Sanchez Morao. So this Sarah okay. This Samuel Peixotto is interesting because in the question that Hakon posted, mailed to us, he also mentions a Samuel living in 1827 on Jamaica. He may have been the same one. He may have been a grandson. But there could be a relationship. So I looked up the Bevis Marks Ketebot, and indeed Samuel Peixotto married to Sarah Mendes da Costa in London. And again, I'll try to see if I can share that. No. But I do have that Ketuba, and I'll send it to you. I don't know if this is your line. Cohen Peixotto was a family that was all over the world. The first people of the name Cohen Peixotto you find in Amsterdam, 1623 and maybe earlier. And they already branched out to Brazil in 1634, where we find the Diego Mendes Peixotto, aka Cohen Peixotto. And then you find many family members in Amsterdam. And from Amsterdam, they went to London, to Bordeaux, to Constantinople, to other places. If I look at my databases, they are just about everywhere. Barbados, uh, also in Jamaica. So your thought and your question about compiling as much as you can about all the Cohen Peixottos in the world might be a good strategy to figure it all out. And that's about it. But Hakon, do you have any questions? Is he still here?
Yeah, he's muted.
Okay.
Do you want to unmute yourself, Holger? Yeah.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm very familiar with Family Search and actually did that kind of search, which is wonderful there, and found out a few more things about recent generations, but nothing going back. And I actually have that book of Stanley Mervis, which I read through. It's wonderful, but I had forgotten or didn't notice they had the will abstracts in there.
No, it's not in there.
um,
It's the basis on which he conducted this research.
okay, so where are those abstracts?
Um, I'll put them in chat.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Can I make one observation? We've tested one Picciotto from Aleppo, which traces its family back to Livorno, and that lineage is the Avotaynu 111, 111, if you want to write that down for want to contact me. And that lineage looks Romaniot. It does not look Iberian. And it's a very big and important Romaniot lineage with the Russo family in it and the Coltramiro family. And so when you're doing if you find access to the records in Livorno, you might want to look east, not just west, for the origins of the family, because it does not look Iberian to us.
Interesting. This is just Peixotto, not Cohen Peixotto, right?
I didn't when we tested him in Colombia and South America, I did not ask that question, but it's a good one and I will ask.
Unfortunately, the yDNA, the one Peixotto that was left of my line died a few years ago. So there are lots of descendants, but none with the Peixotto name. Actually, he changed his name, but in any case, he died.
But I will ask this family if they are in Aleppo. That's a big deal if you're a Cohen. So I will ask if that's the family tradition.
Thank you.
In the chat, Ali's asking whether Peixotto is the same as Picciotto. That's to say, the Portuguese and presumably Italian. Are they variants of the same name?
I don't know. We haven't tested the Peixotto from Portugal.
Yeah.
If someone has someone,
I believe it is.
Okay.
We'd be happy to confirm that if we find someone who is willing to participate.
Great.
If that is the case, then what Adam's saying about Livorno is absolutely spot on, because we've been looking at the Livorno birth registers with Oscar Barroso, and there are numerous Picciottos there. I don't know if there's a spelling Peixotto as well, but certainly Picciotto is a very well featured name in Livorno. Also, you may have heard of the name Picciotto in connection with a famous book, which I've now lost. Sketches of Anglo-Jewish History.
Ernest Peixotto?
By James Picciotto.
Oh, James Peixotto.
Yeah,
okay.
In 1875 it was published. This is basically a travelogue
Mhm.
by James Peixotto, who came from Italy, I believe, and traveled around England and wrote sort of lots about the history of the Jewish communities in England. But this is Picciotto, not Peixotto, so I don't know if they're the same. If they are, then yeah, have a look.
We'll have to find one. The family in Aleppo came from a fellow named Hillel Picciotto came in the 1730s with his brother Daniel. So if we see them showing up anywhere, that'd be good to know. Hillel died in 1773. But the Aleppo family has been pretty careful about people who come and go. So I think that particular fact is probably pretty reliable.
Are they related?
Somebody,
Are
I,
they related to the family to a Peixotto who was elevated to nobility by the Emperor of Austria?
oh,
That's a very interesting question. That's something I think again, if we have some people who want to be tested, we'll twist their arm and get to the
Okay,
bottom of it.
I'll send you the details of that.
Thanks, Tom.
And we also have an optimistic question in the chat. Could the family from Poland called Pichata be related to Peixotto?
oh, I see that. Huh.
It's possible.
So, Judy, I feel another yDNA test coming on.
Someone, it might have been Stan Mervis, mentioned that there seems to be sort of a divide in the Sephardim, that the um, Portuguese Sephardim, who tended to have left somewhat later, tended to go north and west to the Caribbean and Amsterdam and London. Whereas the Spanish Sephardim, many of whom left earlier during the Spanish Inquisition, tended to go south and east. I don't know how much truth there is in that, but
Absolutely. And those were the ones who left earlier were Jewish. Don't forget the ones who left from Portugal were no longer Jewish for as much as a century or two. Right, David?
That's true. Yeah, that's me.
So they would have gotten a very different reception in the East than the ones who came later.
We have another expert on Jamaican families on this meeting. That's Steve Porter. Maybe he knows some more sources that Hakon can search from Jamaica himself. Steve?
Steve is muted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hi Tom and David. I'm just having a quick look in Jews, Slaves, and the Slave Trade by Ellie Faber, and there is mention of the initials are given A, C, Peixotto, and 3 entries to do with number of slaves and with addresses in Orange Street, Harbour Street, and White Street in Kingston.
that's
And
my
the
third
date
great uncle.
That's listed under Jewish households and companies in Kingston in 1819 in the appendices. That's just a quick look. I couldn't see any other mentions in there. And presumably you've checked the tombstone inscriptions. I haven't looked because it only just come up with this.
There are some tombstones, inscriptions for Isaac Peixotto, and it seems, according to the transcription in Barrett, that his wife died 120 years later, something like that, than he did, which doesn't make much sense. But I'm guessing one of those dates is wrong.
There may be other references, but I haven't had a look yet.
I've put the consolidated wills of Jamaica in the chat in a Word document, and you can download it from there.
David Silvera might have something to say.
I
Hi,
don't have
David.
anything at this time. I haven't done any work. We'll look up in that name, but I could look up and later get back. Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Next question, David.
Okay. We actually now we have two questions on the same surname. I'm not sure if they're related. This is the Benzaken family, and Daniel is trying to identify the correct parentage and ancestry of his great-grandfather, Meir Benzaken, whose origins trace from Egypt back to Morocco. DNA evidence points to a patriarch named Masoud Benzaken, but multiple people with the same names, cousin marriages, and migrations have caused widespread confusion in online family trees. He's asking for help in breaking this brick wall and reconstructing the family accurately, potentially extending the family back to the Iberian Peninsula. Adam, I'm afraid I'll throw this back to you. Do you have any tests on benzocaine? You're muted.
Yes, I'm looking it up furiously right now.
May I say something?
Yes, of course.
I'm sorry, my camera seems to be broken today. Nothing I do seems to get it working. Have you, whoever it was that asked about the name, have you connected with Ryan Zaken?
I don't think the question is in the meeting, but they'll certainly see the
Oh, okay.
recording.
So there's a young man. His name is Ryan. His last name is Zaken. It was Benzaken originally. Um, I think it's now 8 years that I met him. And it's kind of cute. I didn't know he was a child. He was 13 when he reached out to me. So, anyways, I spent the next 6 years online teaching him how to do research, and he is far superseded me. Anyways, he has extensive research on that family line, and he might be someone to reach out to and talk with, and is well documented as well. I can look up his email address and put it in the chat if you like.
I tell you what's better. Do you know which country he's in?
The United States.
Okay, so it's probably easier for the questioner just to research. We can't be putting people's emails in the public domain without their consent.
All right.
But
Or I can give mine and the person can reach out to me and then I can connect them.
can you send an email to us with that, and then if the questioner wants,
All right.
that's
So send it
okay.
to whom? Send it
To
where?
society@sephardicgenealogy.com. The emails that this meeting comes from.
Okay.
Brilliant. That's really kind.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And it might be wise to also contact Jacob Marage, and he has authorized me to put his email address into the chat, so I will do that.
And Raquel, of course, as well.
Raquel Levi Toledano.
Yes.
I will mention that we've tested two men with this family name, Zakin and Benzaken, and they're the same. They appear to be the same lineage. 553, write that number down, and that's our lineage for that family. We found no one outside that lineage, so that's a good sign.
Mhm. And again, it's worthwhile to sign up to the Cercle Genealogie Juive of France.
I just remembered something. He's been occasionally in some of these meetings, so he may be a member of Sephardic Gen.
Okay.
Okay. Well, shall we move on then to the second Benzaken question from Remy, and he's researching his great uncle Samuel Benzaken, born in Mascaro, Algeria, in 1895. In the Second World War, he was arrested in France and deported from Drancy to Auschwitz in 1943. He has detailed documentary information about Samuel's life, arrest, and deportation, but lacks any photograph of him. And he's asking for suggestions on how, where a picture of this relative might be found. At the risk of us sounding like a broken record, I would suggest the Cercle de Généalogie Juive is again a good place to start. I'm afraid we're not really sort of Holocaust researchers, so I couldn't personally say if there might be some sort of German or other record. Does anyone have any knowledge or experience on the subject?
I would like to suggest Yad Vashem. They have a very
Yes.
large collection of photographs, and there might be a memory, a page of memory that was filled out about him. It's possible.
Yes, that's a good idea. Okay, shall we move on to the next question, which takes us to Syria, to the Dweck or a Dweck family. And Jacqueline is trying to identify the parents of her two-time great-grandfather, Shabbatai Dweck, likely born in Syria in the early 1800s. And we have the same problem that we saw previously. The key uncertainty is which Dweck or Shmalo Dweck branch he belongs to, amid surname variants, repeated given names, and incomplete records. And so she's asking for help using genealogical evidence and DNA to break this long-standing brick wall. And if I remember right, and I'm sure I remember, if I remember at all, it's probably from Adam, that there are probably several different Dweck families that were in Syria. But Adam, can I press you again? I'm sure you're desperately looking again. You are muted.
All Dwecks are created equal. They all have the same progenitor.
Okay.
So there may be different lineages, but they're all the same family in Aleppo.
She didn't say whether they were from sort of Aleppo, Damascus, or somewhere else.
I'd be interested. Well, the Dwecks that I'm familiar with are definitely from Aleppo,
Okay.
and it's a big family there, and a very well-connected family. In fact, isn't that the rabbi in London, David?
Well, he's just made Aliyah. He's just left for Israel.
Oh, did he?
He is from one of the Dwecks, but obviously there's multiple different spellings. And if I recall correctly, that Dweck branch believes they came from the Iberian Peninsula, which I think the Avotaynu DNA test suggested they didn't.
Oh, well, we don't mess with people's traditions, but we just see if I can. But clearly, they're all the same lineage. That's our. I'm just trying to get a handle on that particular question.
But for people watching the recording, we're talking about the Avotaynu DNA study. So you can Google it and go and visit their website.
Again, it's not the be all and end all. There's no substitute for archival research.
Yes, yes.
But we have in this project, the Dwecks of Aleppo, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Dwecks, all in the same family, all from the East. So I would be very surprised if this is a Iberian family. It really looks to me like a Musta Arabim family, which mixed in with all the Sephardi families. It's not like a lot of the other families in North Africa where there wasn't mixture, but the Dwecks all are showing up in the East and not showing up in the Western Mediterranean. So my guess would be it's a local family.
Yes. She's asking about her two times great-grandfather, which presumably will that autosomal DNA research might be of some help there. I wonder over the last year or two if there are any kind of new tools for those of us who are.
That's a good idea. And you could talk to Serena Raffé as well.
Yes.
Yes, and to Michael Waas.
Correct.
Okay. And they can be contacted at Jewish Gen.
The other name that connected to Dweck is Kassab in Aleppo. So you might look for some name changing at some point in time.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments on Dweck?
No.
Okay, great. Let's move on to the next question. And this is closer to home, at least for those of us in London and Western Europe. Chrissy is asking about the Nieto family. She's researching her 7 times great-grandfather, David Nieto, and is trying to trace the origins, marriage, and background of his father, Pinchas Nieto, a rabbi active in Italy and possibly Amsterdam. She asks what Felici means in David Nieto's Padua University graduation record, and whether it refers to a nickname, a surname, or maternal ties. She's also seeking evidence of a claimed Moroccan origin of David Nieto's ancestry and how to verify whether this came through his father or mother. Tom, I think that's your territory.
I would look at Livorno itself for earlier generations in the first place. Renzo Toaf, forgot the name. Renzo Toaf in one of his books mentions the Jacob Nieto early in the 17th century in Livorno. And of course, she who asked the question also apparently knows about the book Ketubot de Livorne from Alain Nedjar and others, which is the go-to book to find information about Livorno. So it's Renzo Toaf, Alain Nedjar with his book about Ketubot. And the third name is, I have to look around. No, I'll put his name in the chat when I find it.
So this is our AB 122 lineage. We've tested 2 Nietos. And it's unmistakably Iberian in origin. We find it all over the place, including in among Converso families in New Mexico. All with different surnames, of course.
And are there any names that are connected to David Nieto, rabbi in London?
I don't know.
Mm.
I'd have to take a look at the whatever information they sent us when we tested them.
Okay.
Both of these individuals, one is in Santa Fe, New Mexico. But clearly there's a Converso element here because we find it among non-Jewish families in France, Spain.
And is Neto the same as Nieto, or are these different families?
Ours are spelling it Nieto.
Okay.
And they also match the Coronel family, Coronel, which we're all familiar with.
Right. The one who asked questions also talked about some family members, possible family members in Amsterdam, early 17th century. But in Amsterdam, early 17th century, I only find the name Neto, not Nieto. So I think that's a dead end. But you never know.
Can I just add something? I found a David and Sarah Nieto in Livorno, who had a son named Moshe in 1686. So that's going quite a way back. I don't know if they're connected to the David Nieto, who later came to London, but I thought he came from Venice. Did they originate in Livorno? Do we know that?
No.
No.
So one of our Nietos came from a man named Jose Nieto, born 1616 in Santa Fe, New Mexico, which is
Uh-huh.
which is pretty convenient timing, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. So there are lots of possibilities there. So what this person has to do is find a male relative with the name Nieto and have him tested.
Yep.
Well, that's a bit of a long shot. Christy is actually here. I don't know if you want to add any comments or seek any clarification. Is that okay? Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so our next question is on the Moreno family, and Lizette is researching Rachel Moreno, also known as Rachel Bueno, wife of Salomon Samuel Del Monte. Oh, again, while preparing a book on the Del Monte family, conflicting records suggest Rachel was either the daughter of Abraham Moreno Henriquez from an established trading family or of an Abraham Moreno involved in criminal activity. She's asking how to resolve this contradiction and determine which Moreno family Rachel truly belongs to.
Could you talk about that a little bit, Liz? Or shall I? You're muted. Yeah.
Well, yes, well, David explained my question indeed, and it's really a problem because she's married to one of my ancestors, and I don't want to write a false biography about her.
Mhm.
And so this is the thing. So I really wonder, actually, my opinion is that because they were in the declaration that she is the widow of Salomon Del Monte, the declaration of the two, there were two old men who testified in 1772 that she belonged to Moreno Henriquez. Well, I think the old man made a mistake because in the registry, in the marriage registry, there's no talk about Moreno Henriquez. So this is really
Yes.
a problem, I think.
Yes. It is indeed a problem, which is also a problem because for those Portuguese Jews who are not so rich as the upper half of the Portuguese Jews in Amsterdam, are less mentioned in notarial archives, and are missing ketubot, and are missing marriage banns, and they don't get mentioned so much in the minute books of the Mahamat. But there are lots and lots and lots of archives in Amsterdam who mention the less well-off, the poor of the nation.
Exactly.
And it's a matter of going through those meticulously to find all the Del Montes and Morenos that you can find. But that's a lot of work because
No,
it
this is
doesn't
not the
have.
thing.
Mhm,
The thing is she from the Moreno Henriquez family, which were well off?
mhm,
Or is she
yes.
just from the crooks, the paupers.
Yeah.
She was very
Oh.
beautiful. She must have been very beautiful. She was 22 when she married Del Monte, who was 43 years old. And she lived in the Kerkstraat, the Jodenkerkstraat, which wasn't a very wealthy street. So if she belonged to the Moreno Henriques, as the two old men stated, I think she wouldn't live there.
Yes. So all we have so far is this declaration of 1772
Two
that
old men, yes.
That an Abraham Moreno Henriques married a Rachel or Ribka de Cordova, and he had
Exactly.
a daughter that married to a Del Monte.
Exactly.
And this, she also had a sister who was married to the Kaiser family. And that family we find lots and lots and lots of documents of, but not about this Moreno branch. So it's really a problem.
It is, yes.
It needs a lot more research.
But how and
Yeah.
where?
So this marriage between Keizer and the Moreno is documented, but the marriage between Abraham Moreno and Ribka de Cordova is not.
Isn't. It's not, no.
And that makes it very difficult to find out which Moreno is this, because there are a lot of Morenos also in Amsterdam. And some are from Morocco, and some are from Spain. And yeah.
Yeah, but what's your opinion? What's your opinion? She lived in the Jodenkerkstraat.
In itself, that says not so much.
No.
She could have been rich anyway, or poor.
Yeah.
I'm not that familiar with Amsterdam and how these who lived where.
Yes. Okay. That's a pity.
Yeah, but I think that that she is not related to the Moreno Henriques. So
I think so too.
mm,
I think she's the daughter of Abraham Moreno, who was involved in a stabbing incident
it could
in
be, but
1670.
yeah, that was a lot earlier,
Yeah.
40 years.
It's all guessing, but it's, in my book, you know what I'm going to write. It's a portrait of a family, and you don't want to blame them if it's not right.
No, these were hard times.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, okay. New Orleans is Helena Moreno, born in Mexico. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's another problem. There are a lot of Moreno families, I think.
Yes. Okay. Well,
So
thank
we
you.
are still in the dark, but I'm sure we'll find out.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. So we are now moving to the Balkans and the Albala family. And Jean is seeking to help identify the origins and family of her two times great-grandmother, Esther Albala, born about 1871 to about 1874, last resident in Monastir before immigrating to the United States in 1912. She suspects Esther may have belonged to a known Albala family from Castoria, Greece, but lacks proof and faces conflicting geographic clues, Monastir versus Greece. and she's asking for strategies or evidence to confirm or rule out a connection between Esther and that Albala family. Is the questioner here today?
Yeah, I am. And I have an
Okay.
update that happened after I wrote that. So I think we've inadvertently made the connection.
Oh, excellent.
Uh, I plugged in that other family. I then went back to the DNA matches with my dad, who is half Ashkenazi and half Sephardi. So a theory I had was that because he's only half and half, the DNA matches might actually be more accurate in their predictions. So I located a number of descendants from that presupposed linkage, connected with them, and found there was in fact a DNA match with my dad that matched the predication within 3 generations. So we have 2 confirmed matches. I think that combined with the little clues I already had, like, oh, another one that turned up was we finally got a copy of her headstone, which had her mother's name on it, which matched the family that I thought might be the right one. So I think I'm comfortable with that part of it. And I'm only left with wondering what the origin of the name was and what could be known about it.
Okay, because actually the question I was going to ask you was about languages spoken in the family and whether anybody might have had a sort of foreign citizenship or protection of a foreign consulate, because that may then open up further archives.
Not that I'm aware of. I know that one of the uncles claimed it, but when I contacted that, actually there were 2 embassies, they said no, and they knew of his making claims and they were false.
Okay. In terms of surnames, I would just flag up again that at the moment Alexander Beider is working on his third volume on Sephardic surnames, which will cover the East Mediterranean. In the meanwhile, I don't know if anyone has particular knowledge. I would guess, I'm afraid I always go back to the Cercle de Genealogie Juive because they are sort of the expert on European genealogy generally. Does anybody else have any suggestions to share?
Yeah, I have the Beider book. It's just
No,
not
there's
very.
a new volume he's was researching at the moment, which
Uh-huh.
will specifically cover the Balkan communities.
Okay.
Well, so we've tested the Albalas. One of them is a very old and dear friend of mine in New Jersey, whose family is from Bulgaria. And this is there's a small cluster of men in this family who diverge around 800 CE. And there's a very, very large Ashkenazi population. So we've got a chicken and the egg situation. Was this a group that diverged from the Ashkenazi population and settled in the Greek-speaking? All 4 of these are Greek-speaking populations. I'm sorry, all 4 men from this subgroup of Sephardim are Greek-speaking. Did it come from a Byzantine population that moved north into the Ashkenazi lands, where it became an enormous population? Or was it something that began in the Ashkenazi world that settled in the Balkans to escape the predations of the Crusader era? So this is a chicken and the egg situation, and I probably have an answer for you, just not at my fingertips. But if you write down AB001, this is a very big, large, historically important lineage that either started in the Balkans and moved north or started in the north and moved south. We know that happened, and that's one of our areas of greatest interest, is understanding the migrations out of Byzantium or into Byzantium at that important period, which is the founding of the Jewish world, Ashkenazi world. The problem being, of course, that we have absolutely no documentary evidence from that era of the founding of the Ashkenazi population until the 11th century, when the rabbis started writing about what was going on there, the time of Rashi. But we have a big empty hole in that history. So I'd be happy, if you want to contact me, I'd be happy to take a look at the Albala results that we have and see what it shows. But we clearly are seeing a major event in 713 CE where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 branches all occurring simultaneously within the space of a generation. When that happens, we're looking at a settlement in a urban area in Europe. We love those.
I don't mean to sound uneducated, but what does the
Sorry.
AB001 mean?
That's just a way for people to contact us. We have identified 700 different paternal lineages dating back to the founding of the Jewish population, found in today's Jewish world, and
So
we can't
that's just
follow. We made it up.
reference ID. It's a reference ID.
Correct. It's an arbitrary ID. We can't keep track of all the SNPs and that that family tree DNA keeps coming up with. So we simply ignore the SNPs and we create our own lineage. And as the SNPs change, we can still keep our head straight by knowing that this is the lineage. AB001 represents the man who became Jewish.
Okay. And how do I contact you?
I'm going to post my email in chat.
Okay, thank you.
Ali.
Yeah, I just looked at Albala in Turkey, and there are lots of Albala also in Istanbul. So, obviously spread out through the Balkans. But I did also see on Wikipedia that it says Albala is a municipality located in the province of Caceres, Extremadura, Spain. So who knows?
Great. Well, thank you for that. Shall we move on to the next, which is in Turkey, in Izmir, the Moron family. Jacob is trying to identify the origins and family connections of the Moron surname linked to Izmir with ancestors who may have passed through Italy, Tunisia, or the Ottoman world. He lacks information about his paternal grandfather, Jacobo Moron, and has found confusing or conflicting links with other Moron families, including rabbinic lines in Izmir, Spain, and elsewhere. He is asking whether Moron families migrated through Italy, e.g. Livorno, and how to determine which Moron line is his own, given DNA results and global Moron dispersal. So I suppose we should put in a mention of our friend Michael Wass and also consular archives. But again, questions about DNA. So Adam, over to you.
I'm searching.
Okay.
Okay, so we have the Moron family from Curacao. We have reason to believe it's the same family. David?
Yeah.
So the Moron family of Curacao, okay, is let's take a look at that. We tested them. We've got 12,000 people on this list, so it takes a minute. Don't wait for me. It's gonna take me a minute.
Okay, I think actually, I know we have a question from Judy in the chat, but perhaps we can wait for that until after we finished Moron. Does anybody else have any ideas? I mean, I think Michael Wass is probably the expert on Jewish genealogy in Izmir, and he can be contacted through Jewish Gen and indeed through his own website.
The one thing I would observe about Istanbul, when you find people in Istanbul, there were major relocations of the Jewish world of of the Ottoman Empire to Istanbul uh, in the 17th century and 16th century. There was a complete reorganization of the Ottoman Empire as a result of efforts to rebuild Istanbul after its capture from Byzantium.
Yeah.
So you find a lot of people from the provinces in Istanbul. So the idea you'd find in Albala in Istanbul would not be even remotely surprising, because it only takes, one person 200 years ago to have a lot of descendants today. And the possibility of it coming from Spain, yeah, it's certainly possible, because it looks like in the 6th century CE, we have related people in this lineage coming from Morocco and Turkey. So it's certainly possible.
Okay. I think probably that's most we can say. So shall we close with Judy's question? She's looking for help researching the Penso family from Turkey. One member, she says, immigrated to Poland in the 1600s. She has a DNA match with them, even though she's mainly Ashkenazi. Judy, do you have
Is that a white
to-
DNA match or an autosomal match?
I think it's through my mother, but I think it's whose family was from Ukraine. But I haven't looked at it for a while. There was a Penso family that immigrated to Los Angeles, a doctor and his son. I wrote them. They never wrote me back. But they had done their DNA and they matched with me. And they were from Turkey. The father, the doctor's family, was originally from Turkey. I could, try to track their email or phone number down again. I just thought someone might have some information. My father's family was originally from Germany, then Hungary, Carpathian Mountains.
Well, it would not be impossible to find a Y chromosome or some DNA evidence in the Carpathians coming from the Ottoman Empire. It's not impossible at all. And because we have found a fair number of Y chromosomes in that part of the world that, came north with the Ottomans in the 16th century and remained behind after the Ottoman retreated. We find plenty of that.
Oh, very interesting.
So it's very
Fascinating.
possible. And because, the Ottomans conquered Galicia and they conquered portions of Hungary. And so we know that there was populations that moved north, and we know there were populations that remained behind. In fact, there was an episode where 4,000 Jews were stranded in Budapest or Buda after the Ottoman withdrawal, and they were ransomed by the Jewish population of Vienna on the with the consideration that they would remain Jewish and come help support the Viennese Jewish community. So we definitely know of that, and there's plenty of tradition among some of the families in that part of the world of some kind of Ottoman background. They call it Sephardi, but they don't distinguish. If you go to the Sephardi synagogue of Indianapolis, I'm sorry, the cemetery in Indianapolis is a Sephardi section, and they're all from Monastir. So there's quite a bit of looseness in the term.
Thank you. That's fascinating.
And we have tested a Penso. We're waiting for his results. He's in Venezuela.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
So I'll contact, would you be
Yeah.
able to share that with me?
Yes, I would. So why don't you contact me via the email address I just posted?
I
And-
will.
And I'd be delighted to speak with you. By the way, anybody in London who wants to see me this week, I can be bought for a cup of tea.
And a good story.
Thank you, Adam.
Pleasure.
Great. Is there anybody here who's asked questions that we have missed or not answered? If there is, please just raise your digital hand. I think we've covered all the questions. Apologies if we haven't.
Yeah.
Arton Håkon has had a breakthrough with the list that you shared, which is good.
I have a Moron response.
Ali.
Sorry, Adam was about to say something.
Oh, sorry, Adam then.
I have a Moron response, which is it's a very interesting lineage. And I'd be happy to discuss it offline. It's a very substantial Sephardi lineage, which with very strong connections to the Ashkenazi world. And it's also a very ancient lineage, ancient Jewish lineage. So whoever would like to contact me about the Moron family, I'd be happy to discuss with you. The number is AB-021.
Okay, I don't think the questioner is in the chat, but can
You can have that person
contact us.
Just to give you a hint, they match Ainsley.
Okay.
Ainsley, I guess. Okay.
Yep.
Hmm.
And a lot of other people. A lot of
Okay.
a lot of names we know very well.
Great.
Ali.
Yeah, I was going to announce a rather potentially interesting breakthrough regarding the Gomez da Costa family, Gomes da Costa in London, who are my wife's ancestors. Those of you in London may know that the patriarch and matriarch of this family are Abraham and Abigail Gomez da Costa, who many people in London are descended from. And they came to London as Vindos from Portugal in 1727. Amelia Carvalho, who's I believe also on this call, has been doing some research, and she came up with an amazing snippet of information tucked away in a footnote in Carla Vieira's article a few years back about Diogo Aguilar, Lopes Pereira, and someone else. Yeah, Baron Aguilar, the famous Baron Aguilar. And in that footnote, it mentions an Inquisition denunciation by a Dom Pedro de Cunha. So he was the snitch who said that in London, his servant had told him that Diego Aguilar, the other person, and a Luis Gomez da Costa had, told them that they should escape, people should escape using the services of a English ship captain called George Diamond, who we know actually is very, connected to the whole transport of Vindo refugees from Portugal. And funnily enough, he was the captain of the ship Pearl that brought Abigail Gomes da Costa, whose original Catholic name was Francisca Gomes da Costa, or Francisca da Costa, to London in 1727. Now, this denunciation was in 1725, so it's not outside the realms of possibility that that triggered that particular flight just over a year later. Now, is Luis Gomez da Costa Abraham? Big question. Who knows? But it's an interesting clue to follow up. So I think Amelia and I are going to be looking at this over the next few weeks.
Well, yeah, you can certainly look him up in the Livro dos Homens, which is an index to Inquisition files and to another series of books, of which I forgot the name for the moment, or the Cadernos dos Poetores. And they are ordered according to to the first name. So you have to go to the page with all the Luises, or rather the 25 pages with Luis, and look for Luis Gomez da Costa. And maybe he's mentioned somewhere. So let's wrap it up. This was Sephardic World. I thank our patrons who are here, who support us, who make this work possible. And I thank Adam and Ali and others who chimed in to share their wisdoms. And we hope to see you again in 2 weeks' time. Goodbye, everyone.